Here is some good news for those of us who do not exercise regularly but would like to see good health benefits despite not having a structured regular exercise in our lives. Ask any medical provider, ask any medical professional, either a physical therapist or a physician or what have you, what is a good amount of exercise to maintain healthy life. And they will tell you 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week, or 75 to 150 minutes of high intensity exercise per week. But for most of us to do that kind of regular, routine, standardized, or structured exercise in our busy lives is not an easy thing. You know, how many of us regularly exercise 30 minutes to 45 minutes every single day, 5 times a week? You know, it's hard to do that in our busy life. So there is an interesting article that was just published, which I would like to share with you. Here you can see this, an interesting article that is good news for most of us who don't regularly exercise or have a structured program in our life. What this article is telling us, is if you have bouts of 1 to 3 minutes or 1 to 2 minutes of bouts of exercise spread over 3 times or about 3 to 4 times a day, you know, just 2 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes of what they call it very low intensity physical activity, VILPA. We'll get to what constitutes this VILPA, very low intensity physical exercise, in a moment. But let us see what this article is saying. This was published in Nature magazine in December 8th, 2022. So this is, you know, the researchers examined very low intensity physical activity using wearable devices, and the things that they measured, what we call outcomes that they measured, are all-cause mortality, which means that death from all causes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer mortality. So three things, three outcomes: all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, which is from heart disease, and cancer mortality. So they measured three outcomes. In this study, I'll put the link for this study in the description below. You can read that up, but I will go over some highlights. Very low intensity, the conclusion of the study, very low intensity physical exercise in non-exercises, which means that those who do not have a structured routine exercise in their daily routine, this very low intensity physical exercise appears to elicit similar effects of vigorous physical activity in exercises, suggesting that VILPA, very low intensity physical activity, may be suitable physical activity target for those people who are not able or not willing to exercise. Willing in the sense they are able to exercise, but they are lazy, or they don't have time to exercise. So we talked about the routine guidelines. You ask any healthcare professional, they will tell you 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. And then there are definitions or descriptions of what constitutes a moderate intensity exercise, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity physical activity per week. So you divide these throughout the week and do that. These are done based on questionnaires. These were recommended by American Sports Association, so many associations over many years now, this is the standard recommendation. But now this new study gives us some hope for those of us who are non-exercises. So what constitutes very low intensity physical activity? I have highlighted that here. As you can see, this very what activities would constitute very low intensity physical activity. Let me pull this one here so you can see. Stair climbing, brisk uphill walking, carrying shopping bags, playing vigorously with kids or pets, and intense gardening or even housework constitutes very low intensity physical activity. So if you are at work, make sure that you use stairs and not elevators. Give at least 1 to 2 minutes of these about three times a day. Carrying shopping bags, park yourself way out in the parking lot, not closest to the entrance of the grocery store. Play vigorously with kids or pets, not simply playing, sitting around playing on on your digital devices, but physically, vigorously playing with the kids. Intense gardening or even housework. For instance, if you are vacuuming your whole house, and if it's a decent sized house, it may constitute this VILPA. And uphill walking. If you are at work, you can sometimes, depending on your location, depending on the season, the climate, you can take a break and do this. The good news is you can mix them up. You can do stair climbing, you can do uphill walking, you can play vigorously with kids or pets, you can incorporate all of these, a combination of these, and each of this constitutes a vigorous intense physical activity. So the health effects now. Higher contributions it was shown that the higher contributions of vigorous physical activity are associated with additional mortality risk reduction. Similarly, vigorous, intense, low physical activity are also associated with similar effects. Enhanced cardiorespiratory adaptations and protection against development of certain types of cancers. Why is this important? Because it's easy to incorporate this type of unstructured physical activities into our routine than a structured program like half an hour every day, 5 days a week. So if you look at, let me see what else is this study saying. Ultimately, come to the discussion for those who are 40 or above. Why 40 or above? Because we tend to get less physical activity as we age, and we tend to gain more weight as we age. So it's important to incorporate these very low intensity physical activities into our routine. I encourage you to look up this article and consider incorporating some of these low intensity physical activity unstructured into your routine. If you are a administrator in or if you're a manager of a company, think about this. You may want to incorporate these type of activities for your employees. Because it improves health outcomes, it makes them stronger physically, mentally, emotionally. They're more resilient, more stronger. So consider such latest studies. Consider this latest study. Read them up a little bit. If you need some help from your professionals, healthcare professionals, get the help. Incorporate such activities into your routine and see if this will improve health outcomes for you and your staff.